A disturbing trend. We are facing a global health crisis and the numbers are alarming. Obesity and type 2 diabetes rates have skyrocketed in recent decades. These conditions, once rare, are now commonplace, affecting millions of lives. What is driving this epidemic? For years, we've been told that a low-fat diet is the key to health. But what if this advice has actually been contributing to the problem? The price of misinformation. The global health market for obesity-related illnesses is now worth trillions of dollars annually. The United States alone spends a staggering $327 billion each year on diabetes care. This financial burden is staggering, but the human cost is immeasurable. Countless individuals are suffering from preventable and reversible health conditions. We need to question the conventional wisdom that led us here. Could the vilification of saturated fats be a contributing factor to this health crisis? Unmasking the truth. This video will explore the science behind saturated fats and their impact on our bodies. We will explore the real culprit behind insulin resistance and its devastating consequences. Prepare to challenge everything you thought you knew about nutrition and discover the hidden truth about red meat and its role in a healthy diet. Get ready to reclaim your health and understand the power of informed dietary choices. Before we continue, I'm curious. Have you ever experienced any benefits from a carnivore diet? If so, please share your story in the comments to inspire others. Let's support each other as a community. Can't wait to hear from you. The demonization of fat. For decades, fat, particularly saturated fat found in foods like red meat, has been demonized as the enemy of good health. We were told that consuming fat, especially saturated fat, would lead to heart disease, obesity, and a host of other chronic illnesses. This message was widely disseminated through public health campaigns, dietary guidelines, and even product labeling. The food industry responded by creating a plethora of low-fat and fat-free products, often loaded with sugar and processed ingredients to compensate for the loss of flavor and texture. The fear of fat became so ingrained in our collective consciousness that we began to avoid naturally fatty foods, replacing them with processed carbohydrates and sugary treats that were marketed as heart-healthy alternatives. The rise of low-fat diets. The low-fat diet craze swept the nation, promising effortless weight loss and improved health. People diligently counted fat grams, shunned butter and full-fat dairy, and opted for skinless chicken breasts over juicy steaks. Food pyramids and dietary guidelines reflected this shift, emphasizing grains, fruits, and vegetables while relegating fats and oils to the very top, suggesting they should be consumed sparingly. This message was reinforced by doctors, nutritionists, and the media, creating a powerful narrative that influenced generations of eaters. However, what we were not told was that this well-intentioned advice was based on flawed science and incomplete data. The studies that initially linked saturated fat to heart disease were later found to be methodologically flawed and have since been debunked by more rigorous research. The unintended consequences. While we were busy avoiding fat, something interesting happened. Instead of getting healthier, we actually became sicker. Rates of obesity, type 2 diabetes, and other chronic diseases continued to climb despite our best efforts to follow the low-fat dogma. It turns out that when we drastically reduce our intake of fat, our bodies crave other sources of energy, primarily carbohydrates. This leads to an overconsumption of refined carbohydrates like sugar, white bread, and processed foods, which are quickly broken down into glucose, causing spikes in blood sugar and insulin levels. Over time, these chronic elevations in insulin can lead to insulin resistance, a condition in which our cells become less responsive to the effects of insulin, setting the stage for a cascade of metabolic dysfunction. Challenging the status quo. The truth is that our bodies need fat to function optimally. Fat provides essential fatty acids, which our bodies cannot produce on their own, supports hormone production, helps us absorb fat-soluble vitamins, and provides satiety, keeping us feeling fuller for longer and preventing overeating. Moreover, not all fats are created equal. While we should limit our intake of unhealthy trans fats found in processed foods, naturally occurring saturated fats found in foods like red meat and butter have been unfairly demonized and actually offer a range of health benefits. It's time to challenge the outdated low-fat paradigm and embrace a more balanced approach to eating that includes a healthy amount of natural fats, including saturated fats from sources like red meat. The real story. For years, saturated fats have been wrongly accused of clogging our arteries and contributing to heart disease. This misconception stems from outdated studies that failed to consider other dietary and lifestyle factors. Modern science paints a different picture. Saturated fats, when consumed as part of a balanced diet, do not raise the risk of heart disease. In fact, they play a vital role in maintaining overall health. Our cell membranes rely on saturated fats for structural integrity and proper function. They're also crucial for hormone production, including testosterone and estrogen, which are essential for both men's and women's health. Metabolic benefits of saturated fats. Contrary to popular belief, saturated fats can actually improve cholesterol profiles. They increase levels of HDL cholesterol, often referred to as the good cholesterol, which helps remove LDL cholesterol, the bad cholesterol, from the bloodstream. Furthermore, saturated fats are more satiating than carbohydrates and protein, meaning they help us feel fuller for longer. This can be particularly beneficial for weight management as it helps regulate appetite and reduce overall calorie intake. Additionally, emerging research suggests that saturated fats may play a role in improving insulin sensitivity, the opposite of what we've been led to believe. This means they could potentially help prevent and even reverse type 2 diabetes. A nutritional powerhouse. Red meat, often demonized for its saturated fat content, is actually a nutritional powerhouse. It is an excellent source of complete protein, providing all the essential amino acids our bodies need to build and repair tissues. Red meat is also rich in essential vitamins and minerals, including iron, zinc, vitamin B12, and creatine. Iron is crucial for oxygen transport, zinc supports immune function, vitamin B12 is essential for nerve health, and creatine plays a role in energy production. Despite concerns about its impact on heart health, consumption of red meat as part of a balanced diet has not been consistently linked to an increased risk of heart disease. Separating fact from fiction. It's time to separate fact from fiction when it comes to saturated fats and red meat. The decades-old dogma that these dietary components are detrimental to our health is not supported by current scientific evidence. In fact, incorporating healthy sources of saturated fats, including red meat, into a balanced diet can provide a range of health benefits, from improved cholesterol levels and insulin sensitivity to increased satiety and enhanced nutrient intake. We must move beyond fear-based dietary advice and embrace a more nuanced understanding of nutrition based on sound scientific evidence. The insulin resistance epidemic. At the heart of the current health crisis lies a metabolic disorder known as insulin resistance. This condition, once relatively uncommon, has now reached epidemic proportions, affecting millions worldwide. Insulin resistance occurs when our cells become less responsive to the effects of insulin, a hormone produced by the pancreas that regulates blood sugar levels. Insulin acts as a key, unlocking the doors of our cells to allow glucose from the bloodstream to enter and be used for energy. When cells become resistant to insulin, glucose cannot enter the cells efficiently, leading to elevated blood sugar levels. The carbohydrate connection. The primary culprit behind the surge in insulin resistance is our overconsumption of refined carbohydrates. These include sugary drinks, processed foods, white bread, and other foods that are rapidly broken down into glucose in the bloodstream. When we consume large amounts of these refined carbohydrates, our bodies release a surge of insulin to deal with the influx of glucose. Over time, this chronic overproduction of insulin leads to our cells becoming desensitized to its effects, like a lock that's been overused and becomes difficult to open. This constant bombardment of insulin creates a vicious cycle of high blood sugar, high insulin levels, and further insulin resistance, setting the stage for a range of metabolic disorders. Breaking the cycle of insulin resistance. The good news is that insulin resistance is often reversible through dietary and lifestyle modifications. The key lies in reducing our intake of refined carbohydrates and replacing them with nutrient-dense whole foods. This means choosing whole grains over refined grains, opting for fruits and vegetables over sugary snacks, and limiting our consumption of processed foods and sugary drinks. In addition to dietary changes, regular physical activity plays a crucial role in improving insulin sensitivity. Exercise helps our muscles utilize glucose more effectively, reducing the demand on insulin. Red meat and insulin sensitivity. You might be surprised to learn that, contrary to popular belief, red meat can actually support insulin sensitivity when consumed as part of a balanced diet. Red meat is a rich source of conjugated linoleic acid, a type of fatty acid that has been shown to improve insulin sensitivity and reduce the risk of type 2 diabetes. Furthermore, the protein in red meat helps stabilize blood sugar levels, preventing the sharp spikes and crashes that can contribute to insulin resistance. This makes red meat a valuable ally in managing blood sugar control and promoting metabolic health. So while decades of misinformation have led us to fear red meat and its saturated fat content, emerging science suggests that it may actually hold the key to unlocking better metabolic health and combating the insulin resistance epidemic. Reversing chronic disease. The impact of insulin resistance extends far beyond type 2 diabetes. It is a driving force behind a cluster of metabolic disorders, collectively known as metabolic syndrome, which significantly increases the risk of heart disease, stroke, and other chronic illnesses. For years, we've been told to avoid red meat and saturated fats to protect our hearts. However, emerging research suggests that incorporating these foods back into our diets as part of a balanced approach may actually hold the key to reversing chronic disease and improving overall health. By addressing the root cause of metabolic dysfunction, insulin resistance, we can create a ripple effect of positive changes throughout our bodies, reducing inflammation, improving blood sugar control, and promoting healthy blood pressure and cholesterol levels. Red meat for healthier heart. The notion that red meat is bad for your heart is deeply ingrained in our collective consciousness. However, this belief is based on outdated science and a misunderstanding of the complex interplay of dietary and lifestyle factors that contribute to heart health. While it's true that processed meats, high in sodium and unhealthy additives, have been linked to an increased risk of heart disease, the same cannot be said for unprocessed red meat consumed in moderation. In fact, red meat is a rich source of nutrients that are essential for heart health, including coenzyme Q10, an antioxidant that plays a vital role in energy production within heart cells, and carnitine, a compound that helps our bodies convert fat into energy, reducing the strain on the heart. A holistic approach. While dietary changes are paramount in reversing chronic disease and improving insulin sensitivity, a holistic approach that addresses other lifestyle factors is equally crucial. Chronic stress, for instance, can wreak havoc on our metabolic health, increasing cortisol levels, which can contribute to insulin resistance and weight gain. Incorporating stress-reducing practices like yoga, meditation, or spending time in nature can have a profound impact on our overall well-being. Similarly, prioritizing quality sleep is essential. When we are sleep-deprived, our bodies produce more of the stress hormone cortisol and less of the appetite-regulating hormone leptin, leading to increased cravings for sugary and processed foods, further exacerbating insulin resistance. The power of truth. For far too long, we've been caught in a web of misinformation about saturated fats and red meat. We've been led to believe that these dietary staples are detrimental to our health, while the real culprit, excess sugar and refined carbohydrates, lurks in the shadows. This misguided fear of fat has fueled the obesity and diabetes epidemics, leaving millions struggling with preventable and reversible health conditions. But the truth has a way of revealing itself, and the scientific evidence is mounting. We now understand that saturated fats, when consumed as part of a balanced diet, do not pose the health risks we once feared. In fact, they offer a range of benefits, from improving cholesterol profiles to enhancing satiety and supporting hormonal balance. Take charge of your health. The power to reclaim your health lies in your hands. It starts with questioning the conventional wisdom that has led us astray and embracing a more nuanced understanding of nutrition based on sound scientific evidence. Don't be afraid to incorporate healthy sources of saturated fat, including red meat, back into your diet. practice moderation and prioritize whole, unprocessed foods over their refined counterparts. Remember, knowledge is power. Share this information with your loved ones, start a conversation, and let's challenge the outdated dietary dogmas that have held us back for far too long. Together, we can rewrite the narrative on health and embrace a future where food is our medicine and knowledge is our guide.